Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of Cinnamon Stitches. I am your yarn host Jennifer. Today is Monday. My voice is a little rough. My body's tired. Last week was amazing. But I am suffering the repercussions of partying too hard at my ripe old age of almost 45. So on Monday, if you're new to the channel, which welcome, because we are steadily, pretty consistently climbing towards 40,000 subscribers, which my mind is blown at that. I think as of the recording of this video, which is yesterday morning, we are at 39,630 subscribers, gaining about 500 subscribers per week on average. Or not per week, per month on average. Pretty impressive. So if you're here new, welcome. I'm so glad. Or however you found my channel, I'm glad that you're here. We have been definitely coming back from... We had a couple weeks there where we were being targeted a little bit. And I had to block about 30 people. But it's all good. It's all good. We're back to everyone being kind and polite and loving and caring. And that's what we strive for on this channel. So, like, we're all good. On Monday, I come on and I usually blog. I talk about what I've been doing for the past 7 days. I show you what I've been making for the past 7 days, give or take. That does change depending on the week and the chaos that ensues. I get asked almost daily about the wind chime that is right outside this window. It is a real wind chime. It is, there's actually a story behind it. There's actually a couple wind chimes in the front yard.
Would you like some pecan?
Yes. And as always, I'm drinking, I think today's pink water. It's left over from last night, but there's still ice going on. The wind chime that is outside this window particularly was a gift from Grandma and Grandpa, which are my husband's grandparents. And it was the last gift I received from them as a couple. They purchased it before Grandpa passed away. So the last time I saw them was in August. And we were talking, it was a really sad occasion. I'm going to tell the story anyway. We were at, my husband's uncle had passed away. He lived in North Carolina. We live in Virginia. Grandma and Grandpa live in California. And it was their son, obviously. And he passed away, a very tragic freak accident took his life. And we had already planned on being in North Carolina. Ironically, this is where like the universe all aligned for us. Not terrific. That's not a word. In a horrific way, the universe everything was lined up for us. Because we already had plans to be in North Carolina. We were going to the Outer Banks for vacation for around my birthday. Which ironically, I shared a birthday with Uncle David. And he died. I believe he died on his birthday, which is really sad. This was 7 years ago. 7? I think it was about 7 years ago. And we hadn't seen Grandma and Grandpa for a little bit, and Grandma and Grandpa was coming for Uncle David's. They didn't really do an official funeral, but they all got together. You know, whoever could make it, made it. And we stopped by and spent time with Grandma and Grandpa, and I was sitting on Uncle David's porch. And I'd only met Uncle David one time. I actually met him the weekend we were in California for our wedding. And he was going through some life changes, and he was not in the mood, and he didn't come to our wedding. And he was having a hard time, I'll just say that. And we're sitting on Uncle David's porch, and I just fell in love with this house. His wife was there, And I told her, I said, your house is really beautiful. And I didn't realize that, you know, she was worried if she's going to even be able to stay there, you know, because Uncle David was gone. And she had all these hanging crystals on her porch, which was identical to my front porch. And I just, it was very like my vibe. And she had a really nice big wind chime hanging. And I was like, talking to Grandma and Grandpa, I was like, I've always wanted one of those wind chimes, but they're really expensive. They're like $70. And at the time, couldn't afford it. and I wasn't working at the time. I was busy. Like we made the choice for me to be a stay-at-home mom. So I was not bringing in income. I would not have ever asked for a wind chime like that because it was a stupid thing to ask for, you know. And so I had just mentioned it in passing, and we also sat and talked about the hummingbirds because there were a lot of hummingbird feeders, and Grandpa was really impressed by the cardinals because when you live in California, there's not a lot of wildlife in the cities. Like there's a lot of people, there's a lot of houses, there's not a lot of like birds and like stuff that I take for granted every day. I have probably 30 different birds visit me on a daily basis because I have bird feeders out here too. So that Christmas, well, Grandpa passed away very unexpectedly in October, and it was a shock. And we traveled out to California for his funeral, and it was definitely a hard year for all of us. I cried more when Grandpa died than I did when my own birth grandfather died. That should speak volumes to you. Like, I didn't cry at all when my birth grandfather died. I didn't travel to say goodbye to him, anything like that, but Grandpa, it knocked me on my ass. Like, I cried. And that Christmas, Grandma has always been really good. From the first Christmas I was with Mr. Cinnamon, I never went without a card, a present, something. And they purchased me the wind chime that you hear. And it will always be on my porch. No matter where I live, it will always be on my porch. And I cried when I opened it because I remembered the interactions the last time I saw Grandpa. And they actually went that weekend and purchased the wind chime for me. So that's the story of the wind chime. So yeah, if you are brand new here and you don't know why I'm so tired and my voice is raspy, this is a clue. I told more of the story in the members video on Saturday, but I'll give you guys a brief rundown of last week because it was fantastic, amazing, outstanding. And then we'll get on to the makes. Okay, so months and months and months ago, well, let's rewind to last summer. Actually, it was last spring even. My daughter, who was 18, her name is Juju, she came to me and she said, Mom, Fall Out Boy's coming in concert. And I was like, what? She's all, I really want to go, but I can only afford to buy my own ticket, and I want you to go. And I was like, baby, I will buy my own ticket. Like, let's do this, right? And they were coming to Charlottesville, Virginia, which is not far from here. It's maybe an hour and a half. And we set forth to buy Fall Out Boy tickets. Well, my niece then wanted to come too, so she decided she was going to try to buy a ticket, and she ended up like 2 rows behind us, like down a little bit, but she was still kind of close to us. So while we weren't at the concert together, we went to the concert together, you know. And it was just a really good concert. Now, I discovered Fall Out Boy pretty much immediately when they came out. I loved Dance Dance and Sugar We're Going Down. And I still remember I ordered CDs through, I think, like BMG or like one of those mail order CD places. And it was like, buy 8 CDs for a penny, right? One of those CDs, and the only one I actually remember purchasing is the Fall Out Boy CD. And I remember listening to it, and I was not a mom yet at this time. I was, we were either on the process of getting married or we were newlyweds. Like, it was very early on in the marriage. And I really liked Fall Out Boy, but then I became a mom and I stopped listening to a lot of my own music because when you're a mom, a lot of times you're listening to Mickey Mouse Clubhouse and like the Lori Berkner Band and like all kids stuff, right? And eventually it came to the point where I was raising my daughter and my 2 nieces. And so my life very much became mom. I lost my personal identity, and it happens, and I'm not saying it's a regretful thing at all, but it happens, right? And so, I don't know, Juju was about 7, 8, 9 years old, and I gave her all of my CDs because who had time to listen to CDs? I didn't know what was in there. I didn't really, like, I knew what I'd listened to. There was Garth Brooks in there. There was dance hits with, like, I Like to Move It was on one of the dance cuts, or Scatman was on there. There was Bone Thugs and Harmony was in there. Like, it was a wide variety of music. Fall Out Boy was one of the CDs, which it didn't, like, it never occurred to me. Years later, when she's talking about Fall Out Boy's coming in concert, I was like, you like Fall Out Boy? Like, how do I not know you like Fall Out Boy? She's like, Mom, you gave me the CD, and like, I was obsessed with Fall Out Boy in middle school. Well, middle school was like a kind of a really difficult time for us because her and both the girls were preteen, teenage ages. There's a lot of hormones. There's a lot of Mom doesn't understand me. And I had little man who was a very small baby, toddler, didn't sleep. I wasn't sleeping. My mental stability was not there at all because there was so many complications in our lives at that time. I was hanging on by less than a thread. And this is why I didn't know my child was listening to Fall Out Boy in middle school, because there was a lot. I was stretched so thin that I was just overstretched. I had too much on my plate at once. Now, with all of that being said, I had no idea my daughter was such a Fall Out Boy fan until the concerts last year, right? And I say concerts because we bought the one to Charlottesville, and I loved it so much, and she loved it so much. I was like, and from what our base knowledge was that they announced that this was probably their last hurrah. And I was like, oh, I'm so sad I'm never going to see them again. Like, I don't think they're coming back. I had no idea, right? So they were 2 nights later coming to Virginia Beach, which is 3 hours in the other direction from my house. And I was like, let's see if we can get tickets for that. And Mr. Cinnamon is always like, yeah, like, if you can do it, let's do it, right? So we got last minute tickets to Virginia Beach, which was nowhere near a sold out show. We got really good seats, like center stage. We were like maybe 10 rows back, and our entire aisle didn't sell for some odd, strange reason. We had a whole aisle to ourselves. So we had lots of room to dance. Now, I am a dancer. I dance. I sing very loudly. I love music. Music is like life, okay? If I'm in a bad mood, if I put on certain songs, my entire mood shifts. Music is a lot to me. And I think that goes with the neurodivergent brain, right? So you hear Benny back there whining. It just occurred to me he's whining because he let himself in here knowing I was recording, and I closed the door and now he's stuck. And he knows that his daddy is in there cooking bacon. He loves bacon. Okay, so 2 concerts down, we had an amazing time, right? And then soon after that, they're like, we're going on our UK tour, so they're gone, right? And this was open air stadiums. And in the music world, open air stadiums is like, it starts off like low level, not high selling artists start out at like festivals and stuff like that. So they'll perform 1 or 2 songs at a festival, or maybe they're an opening act for somebody else, right? And then the next stage up from that is like open air arenas, which is both of the ones last summer were open air arenas, and then they went to the UK. Well, this year now they're in stadiums because they're doing well enough that they got upgraded to stadiums, and then the next is arenas. They were in arenas this time. Then they move up to stadiums, right? Which they sold out Madison Square Garden, which is crazy. So when we found out they were coming back after UK, I was like, yeah, let's get these tickets, right? And there was a decision. Do we go to Baltimore or do we go to Raleigh? Raleigh is south of us. Baltimore is north of us. Raleigh is in North Carolina. I'm in Virginia. Baltimore's in Maryland. So it's 3 different states, right? And Mr. Cinnamon said, why not buy tickets for both? Problem is, Raleigh was the 19th, Baltimore was the 20th. And I knew I am classified as morbidly obese. I knew, and here's the things, I broke my leg in October, and as soon as I broke my leg, we were already like, I'm so glad you broke your leg right now and not before the concert or before the trip to Florida, because that would have canceled all plans, because I broke my ankle pretty good. And even now, I still have a hard time. Like, my ankle does not have full mobility back, and I struggle with it, and it swells up all the time, and there's still issues with the ankle. But it was also going to be just a girls' trip of just me and my daughter. And I don't drive. I hate driving. I don't drive long distances. I hate driving. I also have social anxiety. I hate talking on the phone. Hate talking on the phone. I don't even like emailing. Like, I'm my anxiety is such that, like, I always think I'm going to say something stupid or say something wrong, and I have a hard time standing up for myself. And just there's a lot of issues, you know. And I don't call my own doctor when I need refills. Like, Mr. Cinnamon does a lot of stuff for me, because I struggle really hard with that. And I think the coolest thing is that I did a lot of things on this trip that I never did. We did valet. Like, I had somebody park my car for me, and then I had somebody go pick up my car for me, and I tipped him, and like, I was like, I just did valet for the first time. Like, I was proud of myself for that. I checked into 2 different hotels by myself. I drove us to actually I drove us past Raleigh, because we went to the gluten-free bakery, because we both have gluten allergies, so that we had some food and didn't have to worry about, like, the whole process of trying to find safe places to eat so we don't get sick before the concert. And so we talked and we talked and we talked about really personal stuff. We sang, and we just, for the most part, had a really good time. The Raleigh concert was amazing. There were some pitfalls. There were some things that were not perfect, but the night was really great. And at one point, the drummer Andy was staring at me and Juju, because we were in the second row off to the side, and because the first row was at the stage, there's a huge gap between the first row and the second row. And I even have a picture. I have a picture that the band took a selfie with us, right? And so I screenshotted it, and you can see me and Juju, and I'll show you exactly what I mean, because it's obvious we stood out. So not the guitars, you hear little man, he's upstairs being so loud. I gotta try and find the picture. That's Baltimore. There it is, Raleigh. Okay. So this is from the official Fall Out Boy. So this is the band selfie, right? If you zoom in, as far as I can zoom in, there's me and Juju right here. Yep. It's blurry, but it's like, you can see how we were so far separated from the front. We kind of stood out, which is why I was able to find us so easily. So at one point, this guy right here, that's Andy. He's staring, he's playing, but he's staring right at us, right? And I did tell the story in the members video, so the members are going to hear it twice, right? And it was for like 3 songs. He's just staring, like playing, just like looked like lasered. And we weren't straight in the front, so he was kind of looking, you know. And I lean over to Juju, and I'm like, the drummer is staring at us. And she's all, I know! And then we both started giggling, and like, we looked back up, and he saw this interaction, and he started looking like he was trying not to giggle. Like, his whole face lit up, and he went, and then he kept playing. And I was like, we just had a moment with the Like, we had a moment. Like, there was a moment there, which is crazy because you're in a room with, I don't know how many people were in that, or the stadium, like, or the arena. Tens of thousands of people were in there, okay? To connect with an artist or the musician like that was insane. And it was, the opening act was Jimmy Eat World. And there were actually 3 opening acts, but Jimmy Eat World, the guitarist, he was playing and he kept looking down at us because I was very uncomfortable in my seat. I was sitting next to a very large woman, and I'm not going into more detail than that. But I was very uncomfortable. I was trying to make myself as small as possible. So I was sitting like this. And this situation was, it was bothering me for a lot of reasons. I was very uncomfortable, and I was half off my seat, and I was trying to be mindful of what she's going through. And so I'm sitting like this trying to make myself small, and I'm really uncomfortable. And I'm sure to the guitarist, because he kept looking at me like he was waiting for us. Like, we stood out. He kept looking at us like, are you going to get up and dance? Like, am I doing a bad job? Like, you can see all that, because that's what musicians want you to interact with them, right? And so I was feeling guilty. I was feeling all kinds of ways. Like, this guy thinks we don't like his music, and it was not it at all. I was just, like, there was so much more going on in that moment. And if you don't know who Jimmy Eat World is, he sings a song called The Middle, which most of you probably know. I'm not going to sing it. Look it up. Jimmy Eat World, The Middle. It just takes some time, little girl. You're in the middle of the ride. You should know that song. You probably have heard it in movies or TV or something. It was very popular. But when Fall Out Boy came out, I stayed on my feet the entire time they were on stage. I danced, I sang, I screamed, I clapped. I lost my hearing a little bit. Like, it was because we were so close to the stage. I also, I have skin issues. So they had these smoke-filled bubbles, like actual bubbles. And when you pop them, they had smoke in them. And it was so cool, and me and Juju kept playing with them, and then I started getting really itchy on my hand, and I started to panic because my immune system is very sensitive, and like certain chemicals will cause a violent reaction on my hands. And so I'm sitting there rubbing my dress on my hand trying to get this crap off because I'm itching and burning. And even today it's itching and burning, but I think I've washed my hands enough that hopefully we don't have a flare-up because it's been a couple days. Anyway, concert was amazing. Our hotel was literally right across the street, so we didn't have to go far. The hotel was really nice. Everybody was nice. It was a good experience. And then we had to drive up to Baltimore from Raleigh. Now, if you know anything about DC and Baltimore traffic, it is the worst of the worst. And I dare say it's worse than California traffic because a lot of times there's only 2 or 3 lanes of traffic with millions of people on the road at once, whereas in California there's 8 lanes of traffic on each side of the freeway. And so while traffic is horrendous in California, and you will not ever see me driving in the state of California, especially anywhere around LA, DC traffic can almost be worse. It's just really intense, and I don't like driving. I get road rage. The whole thing is just, it was hard. And so I'm like, we'll be fine. It's only a 5.5 hour drive. At worst case scenario, it'll be 6 hours. If we leave by 10 o'clock, we'll be fine. I was so wrong. So we left, I think at 11 from the hotel. And we drove north. And I'm like, we're driving past the house. We needed a little bit more gluten-free food. And I knew a safe place to get that is Wegmans grocery store. And I'm like, we're driving right past Wegmans. Our Wegmans is right by the freeway. We'll just pop in there. Mr. Cinnamon is in DC at meetings. He's driving south. We're driving north, right? I told him, I was like, I'm going to stop at our Wegmans. He's all right, cool. So I popped in there. We had a potty break. We got some food for the evening and for the next morning. And I came out to the car. Mr. Cinnamon is parked facing Juju's car because we took her car. And I looked up and I was so surprised and like happy to see him because like it had only been like 24 hours since I seen him last, but like I was still like surprised to see him there because I don't know how he made it there so fast. And he's just like parked right, like it was like I don't know. So I got up in the truck, I gave him a kiss and talked for a few minutes. We hit the road again. And at this point, we got even near DC and traffic was just bad. And the GPS is telling me one thing and it's saying one thing and showing something different on the photo. And so I panicked and turned the wrong way, and Mr. Cinnamon is watching me on the GPS. So he's like, you went the wrong way. I'm like, I know. And I'm freaking out because the traffic has been so bad for like an hour now. And it's getting closer and closer to showtime. The show started at 6:30. But we already decided there was other things that happened the night before, and I did not want to see some of the opening acts because I really did not like Hot Mulligan at all. I did not like the guy. He was kind of a tool. And so we planned on going later anyway. Juju had an assignment due, and we didn't have internet in the car for her to do the assignment. Like, there was things were compiling. Traffic was bad. It's approaching 6:30. The venue opens at 5:30. The concert started at 6:30. We wanted to be there by 8 o'clock to see Jimmy Eat World before Fall Out Boy. Like, all these things, you know. I couldn't figure out where to park for the hotel because it's in the dead center of Baltimore. A very busy area. They don't have a parking lot. I didn't know where I was going. There were people on every corner just hanging out. Just hanging out. And I'm like, my anxiety is through the roof at this point. I'm like, I don't know where to go for valet. I don't know what I'm doing. There's no place to pull over. And Mr. Cinnamon's on the phone with me, and it was already so late. Like, I was stressed. I got lost. I had to do all these turnarounds. It added like 30 minutes onto our trip. I needed a shower. It was one thing after another. We're just compiling. Juju is stressed out because she doesn't have time to do her assignment. It's due that day. It's not finished. Her professor's not emailing her back. Like, so the two of us are just like stressed. So I pull up, finally, Mr. Cinnamon has me on one line. He's calling the hotel. Where does she go for, because like I said, I don't make phone calls. I don't like it. He's all, where does she go? Pull up. Right directly in front of the door, someone will come out. So I did that. And I popped the trunk, and I'm on a very busy road. There's a lot of people everywhere. Cars honking. Battery change. Hang on. This older gentleman comes out. He could see I was frazzled. He's all, it's all right, baby, you're here. You can calm down now. I was like, all right. I was like, it has been a hell of a day. He's all, I can see that. I can see that. He's all, come on in. He's all, you're doing valet? I said, yes. He's all, check-in is right there. I'm going to go write some information. Just breathe. I was like, all right. So I come back in. I go check into the hotel. She was super nice. I want to say her name was Nala, but I don't think that was it at all. Naya? Maybe it was Naya. It was Naya L. That's why I'm thinking of Nala. It was Naya L. She was super nice, right? Checked us in, telling us about breakfast and all that. And I'm like, can't eat none of your breakfast. I have a gluten allergy, but like, whatever. I didn't say that, but that's what I'm thinking. Like, I let her do her little thing, right? Valet standing behind me. He's all, I just need your name and like phone number and all this stuff. And he's telling me, you know, what's going on. And he's all, what time's the show start? It was 6:40 at this time. I was like, well, the show started at 6:30. He's all, oh. I was like, the opening act don't come on until 9. We're good. He's all right. He's all right. All right. He's all, why don't you go upstairs, get yourself all done up. He's all, have a cup of coffee, get yourself ready, come back downstairs. I was like, all right. And then he's telling me, like, they're going to text you. He wrote my phone number down wrong. He's all, they're going to text you, and all you got to do is text us 15 minutes before you come down. We'll have your car ready. I never got a text. And it didn't occur to me until it was like close to midnight that I never got a text. And so the next morning when we came downstairs, I was like, I never got a text. And I looked at the picture I took of the card thing. I was like, I think you guys wrote my phone number down wrong. And the young man that was there at that time, he's all, I'll be back in 2 minutes. And so he went and got my car. Zippy, pronto, quickly. I was very pleased with that. I was very pleased with that. The concert was a whole different, it was a whole different experience, and it's so crazy because the first night, like, it was a good concert. Like, Fall Out Boy performed, Jimmy Eat World performed, like, it was good. I danced, I was vibing, I had an amazing time. The next night, the arena, first of all, there were people standing around the entire arena selling bottles of alcohol in pouches that you, then they're very forceful. Come on, baby, you know you want to drink. Like, just following you. Come on, I got everything you need. I can't drink your alcohol. Food allergies, gluten is in some alcohols. I don't know what the hell you put in that pouch, and you're not getting my money because, like, it's not happening, right? I also don't drink, so... And my body does not like alcohol. It has a bad reaction to alcohol, even if there's not gluten in it, which is crazy. This is a new thing. Past couple years, like, my body gets, like, my face feels like it's on fire. My stomach starts to hurt. It's really strange. So I'm trying to get past all these very pushy people trying to sell me their alcohol pouches. Security was non-existent. They didn't care what you were bringing into the arena, which is crazy because Raleigh, like, they had drug dogs. Like, it was crazy. This Baltimore doesn't care. Like, they don't care. And then the guy that was doing ticket, he was in all black and he had dark skin and he's standing in a shadow. And there's bright lights shining from behind him. And I'm like, I don't even know I'm walking, looking like, where is the ticket guy to scan my ticket? And I stepped one step past him and he stepped out of the shadow. He's all, I need your ticket. And he was rude as hell. And I was like, you are literally standing in a shadow. I could not see you. And so he's all, I still need your ticket. I'm like, okay, well, come out of the damn shadow so people can see that you're standing there. Like, why are you in the shadows? He scared the crap out of me because I literally, when you got all black, standing in a shadow with bright lights in your face, because most arenas, to get to the floor, you have to go down all the steps. And then when you're done dancing, you go back up the steps. And then by then your legs are rubber, right? So this one is like a flat entry onto the floor, which made me so happy. We went in the right door. B, flat level to get to the floor. It was fantastic. I did accidentally go to the wrong section and had to be escorted to the correct section because I didn't know where I was going. Because Jimmy Eat World was already on stage. Like, a lot was happening. Juju was in a mood. She was going to cry or scream. I didn't know which. Like, she was not. She's sitting there like... And I'm like, baby, you just need to let it go. Like, whatever happens with your assignment, it happens. Like, we need to have a good time tonight. I had her dad texting her because Mr. Cinnamon has more college degrees than I know what to do with. Okay? Like, he's got several college degrees. I've thought for a while he was going to be a college lifer. He's like, we'll figure it out. Like, I'll help you do the assignment. Tell me what needs to be done. And she's like, no, I need to, whatever, right? So I'm sitting there. And I'm texting. I got my phone like this. So my arm is laying across my stomach like this. And I'm texting, and Jimmy Eat World's on stage. I'm texting Mr. Cinnamon like this, right? And I'm texting him. I'm relieved because we're sitting in between two really skinny girls. And the night before, I said we were sitting next to a very, very large woman who needed 2 seats because she was half on my seat. And I'm sitting there. I told him, I was like, we're sitting next to 2 skinny girls. I was so happy. Because for the first time in a very long time, I fit perfectly in the seat because I lost a bunch of weight, you know. I fit in the seat without having overhang or having to sit on Juju's seat a little bit. And, like, I was so proud of myself. And then, like, the night before was crazy because, like, I've been that woman and I felt bad for that woman. But at the same time, like, I was irritated because she was on my seat. And, like, I did not let her know that I was irritated. I was very kind to her, but it was a thing, you know. And so I was so relieved to be sitting next to an extraordinarily skinny woman. And there was a very skinny teeny bopper on the other side of Juju. So we had all the room to dance and sing and even sit down. So I'm texting this. Juju's moody. He tried to help her. It wasn't helping. Like, I know she's about to cry, right? And I'm sitting there. I felt and I heard hit my arm. Now, the noise of it hitting it landed like right between my stomach and my arm. It was loud enough that Juju heard it over the music. Concerts are loud, right? And the girl next to me, the skinny girl, is standing up, and she like turns and starts reaching towards me. So my instinct is she dropped something. So I look down. It is a freaking guitar pick. Jimmy from Jimmy Eat World flung it. Now I'm like 11 rows back, sitting down, and everyone in front of me is standing up. So the fact that that pick soared through people and landed on my stomach, and my arm caught it. Absolute miracle. And I look down, and this girl is reaching like, what? You're going to grab something off of my personal body. Don't even touch me. Like, don't think about it. I didn't say nothing. I just grabbed it. I was kind of confused. Like, where did this come from? Did she drop it, right? And I looked, and I handed it to Juju, and she's all, oh my God, where did you get that? I was like, it just landed on me. She's all, I heard that slap, but I didn't know what it was. I was like, it's a guitar pick. I don't know how he flicked it so perfectly, right? I was like, you can have it. It made the whole night turn around. She was so excited to have, because we both discovered we really like Jimmy Eat World. They perform really well. Some of their songs are really catchy. And that turned the entire night around. It turned the entire night around for her. Which made me feel so happy. I would gladly give you the once-in-a-lifetime guitar pick that I caught by miracle. I will give it to you if you will just smile and stand up and sing. So, towards the end of Jimmy Eat World, we were both standing and singing and enjoying ourselves, and then Fall Out Boy came on, and that was it. Like, it was such a good night. Like, we were dancing and vibing, and we saw people from the night before at the concert, and we were just, it was the energy in Baltimore was electric. Like, there was nothing wrong with the energy at Raleigh. It was a good show. Everybody enjoyed themselves, but at Baltimore, it was just a step above. Like, everybody was vibing together. It was like, it was amazing. The band was on. It was good. Okay? Time to leave. The show is over. We're sad, right? We go to step. Now, I'm going to tell you, there was a family in front of us. I don't exactly understand their family dynamic, but I'm just going to say it was a man in his early 20s and his 2 girlfriends or wives. I don't know how that works, okay, in their family. And then what appeared to be what I'm going to call them wives. They were in their early 20s. They were kind of young. This wife's mom is what it appeared to be. So there was the 4 of them together. And the reason I know that he was with both of them is because there was a lot of feeling and fondling at the beginning of the show between the 3 of them. Well, between him and her, and then him and her, and then him and her. And then this one was really pouty and sat down, and she was having a lot of issues, but this one was the fun wife. And so they were dancing and singing together, and this one was, I'm looking at my phone, I'm very sad, I don't feel good, something was going on with that dynamic. So, like, whatever, like, that whole situation is whatever to me, I don't care. When the show was over, we were seats 3 and 4, they were seats 1, 2, 3, and 4. There was the 2 girls on the end, right? So we turned to go into the aisle to go out, which is like everybody's going out the back because the floor is level out instead of going up the stairs out like a normal venue that I've ever been to. It's always up and out. This one went out the back. And the line is at a standstill. And this guy, I'm going to say middle-class white dude with his wife, drunk out of their mind, entitled as anything I've ever, like, entitled. He's gonna weave through and bypass the line. The line literally is not moving. Where do you think that you're going? But he was drunk. And hello, Oreo. And now you're stuck in here. Ha ha. He goes to push back past the mom of this wife. Wife number 1, I'm gonna call her wife number 1. He tries to push past her. She's already in the aisle. He's all, excuse me. He tried to weave between her and her family. She's all, we're together. Like, you're not getting in between us. He's all, what difference does that make? And she's all, I'm sorry, but you're not moving past. And then he started being drunk and belligerent and calling her names and insulting the guy. Because he's not even man enough to have a beard yet. And that dude didn't say a single word. And I'm thinking, he's got 2 women. He's clearly pleasing. And you have a drunk wife. So, like, he clearly is more man than you. This is what I'm thinking, because I'm being petty, right? And he is just... He called the mom fat and disgusting. And she was just average. She may have been a 1X. And I was like, and you're drunk and ignorant, right? And so then he's like talking about somebody had a beard, like the woman had a beard more so than the man, and that made her more of a man than him. And I turned around, I was like, we're at a Fall Out Boy show. We all got beards. And at this point, Juju's like, I need to get mom out of here because mom is getting irritated. So the line starts to move a little bit, but at this point, like, other people in the line have decided they're going to stand next to the mom. And she's definitely older than me. She's probably in her 60s. They stood side by side with the mom, so he couldn't even get past on that side. And, you know, I dare him to push into me because, like, it's not going to happen, right? Don't. Like, you're killing my vibe, dude. So the line starts to go. Juju grabs my hand. She's all, Mom, and she pulls me, right? I'm like, that's probably a smart idea on her part. Get me out of the situation. Because it really had nothing to do with me, but like I was like, why are you being like that to these people? Like you're being so entitled right now, and I cannot stand that type of behavior. And the other guy's like, oh, just because like I paid more money for VIP, I should get to go first. And then he was messing around, making fun of the drunk dude, but the drunk dude thought because like, yeah, I should. Like I paid way more money for my VIP tickets. I have been VIP at a concert. It doesn't get you a whole lot. It gives you free merch pack. Sir, you hear little man's chair upstairs going, I need to get the WD-40 and go squirt that thing because it's loud. We get maybe 6 rows of seats away from the situation, and wife number 2 screams, shut the F up! And drunk guy is still just right in her ear, just running his mouth. I couldn't even hear what was being said at that point. But then Juju, who does not cuss in front of her mom, he goes, oh shit! And she grabbed me and pulled. Just as some other guy in a flannel shirt, I have no idea where this man came from, and drunk guy and wife number 2 go flying into the chairs and slid about 3 rows right next to where me and Juju were standing. And drunk guy had a big giant gash where it was open on his face, and they were fighting. And drunk guy had wife number 2 like holding on to her, while flannel guy, who I have no idea where he even came from, is fighting him, and husband is nowhere to be found. And I'm like, what is happening, right? And so then here comes husband, wife number 1, and the mom, and like now there's a group, and security is running from every direction. Get out of the way! Get out of the way! And so me and Juju are trying to part, and people are trying to part. Like, what is going on? And so I'm telling other people what I saw, what happened. Juju's all, Mom, we need to get out of here. And Mr. Cinnamon's like, okay, I need to make sure that you guys have an Uber home, because we were a couple blocks from the venue at this point. You know, we're 2 girls walking through like inner city Baltimore. He's worried about us, and I'm like, I was raised in the streets of, I say the Detroit, but it's a city outside of Detroit, but it was very much a Detroit type situation. Like I was not scared. I was not scared. At all. And so he's all, I should have got you an Uber. I was like, you were worried about us walking home. You didn't know we were going to be in the middle of a fight in the arena. Like, he's a worrywart. Anyway, he was scared when we were in Raleigh and we were across the street. He's like, he's scared like somebody's going to try to do something. I'm like, first of all, I know how to defend myself. Second of all, I've taught Juju how to defend herself. Third of all, we're big girls. Like, ain't nobody messing with us. I know how to handle myself in situations like that because I've been in a lot of scary situations, you know. And I have taught the girls very well how to handle themselves. And I ain't scared. I ain't scared. I have people, we both have people in our family that are homeless. I'm not scared of homeless people. Like, I know that there's bad people in the world, but maybe I don't have enough common sense to be scared of that. I just feel like if it's going to happen, it's going to happen. Like, there's not a whole lot you can do about bad situations that happen like that. Just try to be aware of your surroundings and protect yourself the best you can. And be kind to everybody, because you just don't know. And so we're walking home, and we made it back to the hotel really fast. And then we came up to the room, and we were just like, we were hyped up. We were so hyped up after the night we had. It was crazy. And then the next day, it only took us like an hour and 15 minutes to drive home from Baltimore, because traffic was just so on. It was so good for the first time ever. I was like, we got home fast. And then we came home, and the dogs were happy, and we had a little downtime before little man came home. And I bought myself a project bag with a keychain that looks like an 8-ball. I bought him an 8-ball keychain. I bought him a hoodie, and he was so excited. But man, I danced my ass off. I danced and danced and danced, and my hips, my lower back was hurting, and I don't care. I had a good time. My ankle was killing me and all swelled up. I didn't care. I had an amazing time. We just had so much fun. It was just... So, my throat is still... Like, I'm a woo girl. Woo! Like, I do all that. I scream. I sing the lyrics loudly. Because for some reason I want them to hear my voice. I don't know. Like, a lot of people do that at concerts. They sing so loud. You could hear them from miles away. My hearing went out a little bit. That's fine today, though. Like, the weather is crap. So there's all that going on. But, can you please stop whining? I know, Shake. It's a good boy. Alright, so let's move on to the crochet aspect of what is going on in Cinnamon Stitches land, because can you stop pushing on her? Hang on, I'm gonna let them out. Okay. What have I been working on this week? Because that's what we're really here for, right? You didn't know you were getting all that Fall Out Boy trip story, did you? This is like part 2 to Saturday's member video. Last weekend, I decided to record a video for Thursday's video. So I wanted to use up the new yarn that was sent to me from Premier Yarns. And I wanted to, because I don't have room on my shelf for those big giant skeins they sent me. And I was like, let's use it up, let's get it out of the way, you know. So I sat down like, okay, what am I gonna make with this? Because it was the Fable yarn. The Premier Fable yarn, which is a beautiful, soft, squishy yarn. And I decided to just make granny squares, because there's a lot of other things I could have did, but I was like, I just want to do something simple, something quick, something that works up, that is done fast, so I can move on to all the things I needed to do for the girls' trip. I also needed a blanket for the couch, because I have a Valentine's Day one that I made last year that I've been using, and it's too small. So I needed something bigger, something that covered my legs and my arms. And so I was like, this will be a good yarn because it'll work up fast, and my goal was to make it over the weekend. And it took me 4 days to make this start to finish. I have not weaved in all of my ends. I've weaved in a lot of my ends, but then I quit because I had other things to do. I mixed the Fable with loops and threads, ring spun. They are both supposed to be a super bulky number 6. Ring spun is more like a 5, and they didn't quite go perfectly together, but they look nice together and they feel good together, but there is a difference. And I also did not have enough to make every square the same. So like, I think I did, how many rows? 1, 2, I think I did 5 rows of the color and then a row of the white. And so I didn't have enough to make all of the squares like that. So I just did some with a little pop of color in the center. It's a really nice blanket. This is really nice yarn. Both of them are really nice yarn. So Mr. Cinnamon bought me the white. And then I had this color of the ring spun in my stash already, which is the color Tranquil Multi. And I use that just for a border row around the outside, because that blue goes really well with some of the colors of the Fable that was sent to me. So all in all, I used 5 of the Fable and I'm going to say 3 of the ring spun. It is 4x4. It is, that's to the floor. I'm 5'9", so it reaches just above my chest. So I have, and it wraps all the way around me. So this is a really good couch blanket because when you're sitting, your body isn't quite as tall. And I always have my slippers on so I can cover up and watch movies. And that's what I wanted this blanket for. This is my couch blanket. It's pretty, it's springy. This Fable yarn is fantastic, gorgeous, delicious. Like the colors are beautiful. I like the way it looked. This type of square is usually like a no-no. Like I don't like, I want it to look more uniform, but I really like the way the colors worked up. A lot. So I finished that in 4 days. And the 4th day was really me just trying to weave in ends and connect the squares and do the border. Then, you guys also saw last week, what did I do with it? I did a video where I was talking about how you can spin acrylic yarn, and I showed the showstopper from, you can see, I worked a bit of it. I showed the showstopper from Hobby Lobby, and how this roving style yarn can be spun. Now, what I did is I split it by colors. So I took the roving and I would grab a section that looked like it was mostly blues or the green, and I would split it out all the way down, and I would just grab a chunk of it. And then I would grab the blue, and I would split it all the way down, pull off a chunk, and then I have like, there's bits where it's more purple or more whatever, right? So I did that. It's kind of like pre-drafting it, getting it ready to spin so that you're not spinning from this big giant chunk. Instead, you're spinning from smaller sections, which works better for me because I'm a newbie. Okay. So because I did that, when I spun it, I create a self-striping yarn. It is on my Swift because I need to wash it next. This is what that fluff looks like spun up. So I have created a beautiful self-striping yarn. Is it focused? I can't tell if it's focused. In these beautiful colors. This is acrylic. It's 65% acrylic, 35% polyamide. And it's self-striping. And you can see there's bits where it's a little more orange or purple, blue. This is more orange and pink. It's stunning. He is driving me crazy with that chair upstairs. Oh my God. He don't know how to sit still though, so I spun that this week. I finished spinning that. I actually finished spinning it after we came home, and I put it on there to stretch it out, and then I'm gonna wash it and thwack it and hang it up and all that. And then I'm like, all right, I have been making such beautiful yarns. Like these are the yarn I spun last week. This is Koigu. And I also made a purchase at the Fiber Fest, the Carolina Fiber Fest. And so I have a lot of new hanks recently, and I'm like, okay, I need to start using the good yarn, the expensive yarn, if you will. It's not necessarily that it's better or it's good, but like, you know what I'm talking about, like the good stuff, the expensive stuff. I need to start being more mindful of what I'm working with. And so I don't want to just collect all the wools. I want to actually use them. So I went into my stash. Actually, what did I do with that bag? Oh. These are pre-caked up. Well, these aren't caked, but some of these are pre-caked up. This is Malabrigo. With the intention of I caked it up to use it, and I never got around to it. There is a couple of balls of Earth Yarns, URTH. So I think these are both earth. This one I think is earth. I think this one is earth. I'm not sure what this one is, but these two are Malabrigo. And I've caked them up with the intention of using them, and I never got around to it. So I grabbed two that were alike yarns, and they were the same. I bought two of this yarn. This is earth. Harmony worsted. Says special edition hand-dyed rainbow. And I started off making a top because I have a yarn crawl I'm going to be doing. I'm going to the James River yarn crawl in April. And I wanted to make myself something to wear to the event. So I started making myself a top that is very similar to the one I made for Juju's concert. And I know this looks very small. It needs to be blocked. It's got a lot of stretch to it. It looks like when you hold it like that, I'm like, oh, that's not going to fit me. But it fits me because there's a lot of stretch that needs to come out from this. This is the shirt I'm working on. And I only have this much left. So I'm only going to be able to get this much more to the bottom. It's not anywhere near long enough. And I could make a crop top. I'm not opposed to wearing a crop top. But I really just wanted this to be a full shirt. So I had to try and order more of this yarn and hope that I ordered the correct one. So this much of the shirt only took me a couple hours. Because this is a worsted weight yarn, I'm working with a 5mm hook. This is 100% superwash, super fine superwash merino. It's only 220 yards, and I thought, oh, 440 yards will be enough to make a shirt my size. And I was incorrect. It will be close, but I definitely needed a little bit more. There is a section of the yarn where the orange turns into the red, and I swear to God, it looks like Flamin' Hot Cheetos. Let's see if I can find it. Kind of like right in this area. It starts to look like Flamin' Hot Cheetos, which makes me laugh every time I hit that section. But, yeah, I'm really excited with that. It would be a perfect crop top if I left it as is right now, but... And then I have to probably buy myself a black tank top to go under that, because I have white tank tops, but I really think that would look better with black underneath it. So until that yarn comes in, I just ordered it last night. Until that yarn comes in, I can't finish that shirt. And I pray to God I ordered the right ones, because some of them say Harmony Worsted, and then some of them say Unique, which is what the other ones over here are. And I don't know if there's a difference between the Unique and that. So this one, is this the Unique? Yeah, this is the Unique. It's still self-striping. I just don't know if there's going to be a difference in the yarn. What is this one? I think this one is a different colorway of that same yarn. So, I think that's going to be really, really beautiful. This coming week, I have an order. I placed my very first order from Paradise Fibers. And I have a whole story behind that order. Paradise Fibers actually caught fire recently, and they're having a lot of issues. And I wanted to discuss not only my order, but what's going on at Paradise Fibers and the interaction that I had with them personally. Before I show you what is in that. So we're going to have an episode of just Paradise Fibers. I think probably every week we're going to start having like a spinning episode, or well, at least for the time being, because I'm really enjoying the spinning, and we'll be talking about things regarding to spinning. But a lot of you seem interested in that, so I'm not going to feel bad about that at all. I got a lot of comments like, I don't have any intention of ever learning to spin, but I find it fascinating to learn about it. And I think it's interesting to all of us because it's literally how yarn is made, and yarn is our what do you call that? It's the thing we use for our art. It's our art medium. So like to watch how it's created and then see it. Like I fully plan on working that koigu up into something. And I fully plan on making this into, I think this acrylic would be beautiful as a shawl or something. And I have a lot more to spin up. This is going to take me a long time because I'm going to alternate between the wool and the acrylic. But I'm going to make as many hanks of that as I can to work it up into a project. But that's 10 ounces of acrylic. So that's going to make quite a bit, because this is what 3 ounces look like. So 10 ounces is going to make quite a bit. So, yeah. That's what's going on in Cinema Stitches land. I don't know what else I have planned for the week. I did get some Happy Mail. There's actually 2 Happy Mail packages in that. So I don't know if we're going to do tea and Happy Mail tomorrow or what's going to happen tomorrow. Because like I said, I'm recording this on Sunday. So tomorrow I will actually come back while you're watching this video, and I will plan out the rest of the week and figure out what we're doing and what tea we're going to be drinking and what we're going to talk about and all that good stuff. But I really need to wait to concentrate on that until everyone is back out of the house, because that squeaking is driving me crazy and I know I'm not going to be able to concentrate. So with that, I'm going to let you go. I hope your Monday is fantastic. Thank you for listening to me blather on and on and on about my personal life. I like being able to have somebody to share that with. I like knowing that you guys like hearing about my weird stories and like the stuff that happens in our weird life. It's like I have a whole lot, almost 40,000 of you that are just my friend out there, just want to hear about how my day went. And I like that a lot of you also put in the comments or email me how your day is going and what you're going through. I have not had a lot of time to respond back to anybody this week, but I know that you guys can understand that. But I do read everything, even if I don't have time to respond. I have read every comment. I have read every email. It's just taking me some time to respond back to everybody, because, I mean, and now with this video coming up, it's going to be 200 more comments I can read. So there's no catching up at this point. But if there was any like dire questions that needed to be answered, I tried to respond to that. Yeah. So with that, I'm going to let you go, and I will see you in the next one. Bye, guys.